Welcome everybody to another episode of Into the Stratusphere. I'm your girl Cindy G, and you guys are watching it on video, y'all. If you guys are listening on the podcasting platform, which is Anchor FM, Google, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or which other platform, you guys can listen to my lovely voice, but otherwise, we're now on video. I know that Brandon and Philip did the video for their recap, so you guys can definitely check it out. We're going to be doing this just for like a short time. Depends on like pretty much my schedule or whichever what's going on. But anyway, you guys, overall, how you guys are doing? I'm doing well. I mean, mental health wise, I'm doing okay. I know I did express this on social media a couple days ago, but I'm doing well. Taking it one step at a time, and everything good and dandy, so I'm doing okay, guys. So anyway, I know I received some feedback from you guys, the Bulletcast Nation, and the boss man himself, and I know that the last episode we went almost 2 hours. I mean, I love to talk about wrestling and talk about what's been going on in wrestling and whatnot, but I'm going to make sure to make it shorter on like when it comes to recapping each of the matches and you know, my opinions and all that. So it's not going to happen again, you guys. And also, like, I do stand what I have to say on the last episode. I know that it was kind of like a hard topic to discuss, but I'll make sure to hang in there. And also just make sure just provide, like, what's best for myself and also for you guys. You guys are the ones that we do listen and everything, and we really appreciate it a lot. Alright, you guys, enough about that. So from backwards to forwards for the topic, Impact Wrestling recap, also my prediction and the bracketology for the Lions Break Crown, also the upcoming match for the Lions Break Crown, matches for this Friday, and results from past independent wrestling show this past weekend. Alright, you guys, let's go ahead and kick things off. Before I get into the results, check out the interview that Philip did, interview Steven of West Coast Design. Check it out. It was a pretty dope interview. I actually met West Coast Design back in October 2017 when I went to my first ever APW show. And he's a cool guy. I'm pretty much blown away for what he talked about, how he started with graphic design. And also, I'm kind of like seeing, like, how did he get into the belt making business? But who knows? But anyway, you guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and kick off with the results. So, on Friday, September 11, Real Canadian Wrestling presents Friday night fights that took place at the Royal Canadian Legion in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where Dwight Davis defeated Big Bruce and Virus in a triple threat match. KB6 had a match against Sweet Daddy Soul, but both of these gentlemen, their matches ended in no contest. Dylan Stone defeated Maverick Jack to retain the RCW Alberta champion. Alec Zwicker defeated Sloan to retain the RCW Women's Champion. Vince Austin defeated Jason the Terrible, Matt Hart, and Slammer in a fatal four-way match for the tournament to win the RCW Hardcore Champion. Old School Crew defeated the Verona's Brother and Sean Martin in a six-man tag team match, and Heavy Metal defeated New Japan Pro Wrestling star El Phantasmo. You guys can definitely check it out. Possibly it's on IWTV coming out soon or Smartmart Video. So, and also check out RCW's website. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to Saturday, September 12th. International Wrestling Cartel presents Super Indy 19 that took place at the Walthing Park in Washington, Pennsylvania, which they had the tournament, so it is going to be confusing. Just want to let y'all know. Alright, so for the first round match for the Super Indy 19, you have is Lee Moriarty defeated Impact Wrestling star Zachary Wentz. Impact Wrestling star Josh Alexander defeated Impact Wrestling star Ace Austin. Brian Pillman Jr., which you guys see him at AEW Dark and also on AEW Dynamite, defeated Facade. Also, Sam Adonis defeated Johnny Cash to win the IWC Super Indie Champion. Also, Raylan defeated Danny Moe to retain the IWC Women's Championship. Lee Moriarty defeated Josh Alexander in a Super Indie 19 semi-final match. Brian Pillman Jr. defeated Sam Adonis and become the new IWC Super Indie champion Super Indie semi-final match. Andrew Place, Anthony Young, Bill Collar, and Spencer Slade defeated Angelique, Deputy Dawn Murphy, Elijah Dean, and Mambo Italiano in a 8-man tag team match. Interesting. Let's see. Jock Simpson defeated Jack Pollock and Jimmy Vegas to win in a 3-way match to win and become the new IWC World Heavyweight Championship. And Brian Pillman Jr. defeated Lee Moriarty to retain the IWC Super Indie Champion in a finals match. So pretty much Brian Pillman Jr. Became the winner of the Super Indie 19 tournament or whichever. So congratulations to all the champions. You guys can definitely check it out on 5TV or coming soon on IWTV. Anyway, so on the same day, Warrior Wrestling Stadium Series took place at the Marian Catholic High School in Chicago Heights, Illinois, where AAA wrestling star Daga defeated Isaiah Velasquez to retain the AAA Wrestling Latin American Champion. Filthy Tom Lawler defeated Kevin Koo. NWA Women's Champion Thunder Rosa defeated Impact Wrestling star Kimberly in a non-title match. Warhorse defeated AEW star Joey Janela in a #1 contendership match for the Warrior Wrestling Champion. Impact Wrestling star Alex Shelley defeated Impact Wrestling star TJP. Elena Black defeated Dan the Dad. AEW star Brian Cage defeated Benjamin Carter. The Rascals, Desmond Xavier, Trey Miguel, and Zachary Runs defeated the team of Impact Wrestling star Chris Bay, Jordan Oliver, and Myron Reeds in a 6-man tag team match. And Impact Wrestling star Kylie Ray defeated Tessa Blanchard to win the Warrior Wrestling Women's Champions. So congratulations to all the champions, new champions, especially Smiley Kylie Ray. And you guys can definitely check it out soon on IWTV or their website or any wrestling streaming platform. All right, so we're going to move on to Sunday, September 13th. WrestlePro had their show at the Colombian Club in Union, New Jersey. There's no city to it. Union, New Jersey. All right, Jimmy Controversy defeated Prince Josiah in a dark match. And then go on to the regular card. Ring of Honor star LSG defeated Ring of Honor star Cheeseburger. The team of Disasterly Steel consists of Greg Steele and Danny Doring defeated the Brick City Boys in a tag team match. McIntosh defeated Max Caster to retain the WrestlePro Silver Champion. Chris Avery Kieli defeated Wrecking Ball Roofsky. Bobby Wayward defeated Dirty Daddy Chris Dickinson. VSK defeated Johnny Cash, Justin Carino. Sorry, botch. Justin Carrillo, Pat Fitzpatrick, and Sean Donovan to retain the CAP champion. Dion Russman defeated Impact Wrestling star Falaba. Anthony Barr defeated TJ Crawford to retain the WrestlePro Gold Champion. And Impact Wrestling star Heath defeated Impact Wrestling star Brian Myers and Brian Pillman Jr. in a 3-way match. So congratulations to everyone. Check out WrestlePro on any other wrestling streaming platform, possibly on IWTV or video coming soon. Alright guys, so with that being said, that is it for the results for the past independent wrestling show. Let's go ahead and talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. That is right. More detail when it comes to the Lions Break Crown. So this Friday, it is the road to the Lions Break Crown, which I'm so excited. I'm glad they have like more information on what it is. So it is going to be a tournament that's going to be coming up to determine who will be the winner. Because I know that we're supposed to be having the Young Lions Cup tournament for New Japan Pro Wrestling to showcase the New Japan and the LA Dojo Young Lions. But of course, coronavirus hits. And the only Young Lions we have in overseas in Japan, of course, Yoda Tsuji, Yuya Uemura, and Gabriel Kidd. And then here in the States, you have is As Coughlin and Clark Connors. I know Carl Frederick is officially graduated from the Young Lions, and he's now making it top, and he is the Alpha Wolf, of course. And I'm not sure what happened to the rest of the Young Lions that is on excursion, like Shota Umino to Ren Narita and others. Like, they have not mentioned any of them, like, what is happening during the pandemic. I hope all of them are doing okay and, you know, getting the training what they needed. So it is nice for New Japan that they're doing a tournament, especially searching for, like, the upcoming hottest indie talent that they could find all over the United States, and I'm so excited. But with that being said, I'm going to cover about the bracketology later. Let's go ahead and announce like which match is going to be coming up for this week. Alright you guys, so for this week of the Road to Lions Break Crown, we have is 3 matches has been announced. So first up you have is like an 8-man tag team match, which has the team of Danny Limelight, Clark Connors, Adrian Quest, and Logan Regal. They'll be taking on Barry Brown, Jordan Clearwater, Blake Christian, and the DKC. For my pick of this is going to be pretty much a good showcasing match, especially for the upcoming Young Lions. And spoiler, these are the guys that are going to be competed for the the Lions Break Crown. I keep confusing sometimes with Young Lions and whatnot. So these are the participate of the upcoming Lions Break Crown tournament. That is right. And so for my pick, I'm going to go with Team Limelight, Connors, Regal, and Quest. And then afterwards, you have this match. Right here is a tag team match, which you have is a team of Rocky Romero and PJ Black versus Mysterioso and Fred Rosser, formerly known as Darren Young in WWE. And I'm looking forward to this match so much. I think it's going to be a banger. For my pick, I'm going with Rocky Romero and PJ Black to pick up the win. And they say like the main event match, possibly, who knows, card may change in particular order. So main event match, it'll be the tag team match, consists of ACH and Alex Zane versus G.O.D. And honestly, I think it is going to be kind of like a rivalry in the making, especially with G.O.D. being the dominant Bullet Club members out there, while Jay White and Kenta are now overseas in Japan getting ready for the G1 Climax. I figure why not have G.O.D. be the one that's going to defeat ACH and Alex Zane, and everything is going to be good and gravy, y'all. So I'm looking forward to this Friday's Road to Lions Break Crown. And also, let's go ahead and kick off with the bracketology, you guys. So as I mentioned, the participant that is already in that 8-man tag team match, you have is Logan Regal, the DKC, Clark Connors, Jordan Clearwater, Danny Limelight, Barrett Brown, Adrian Quest, and Blake Christian. So here are the brackets for the round 1. So Logan Regal versus the DKC. My pick is the DKC because I feel like he has more of like a heavy hitting movement, and he has like a pretty good offense to it too, so that's why I'm picking him. Clark Connors versus Jordan Clearwater. I'm going with Clark Connors. I mean, he is the only one in the LA Dojo Young Lions. I feel like it's time for him to rise up to the caliber, and he improved so much. So I'm going with him. Danny Limelight versus Barry Brown. I'm going with Danny Limelight. Ever since his debut at the Lions Break Collision, he has more of this charisma and also like his in-ring ability. It actually sets the bar high. Especially on the last episode, his match against Rocky Romero. So perfect, you guys. So I'm going with Danny Limelight. And then Adrian Quest versus Blake Christian. Honey, this is going to be the match I'm super looking forward to. Blake Christian, first time I've seen him was GCW presents Keep in Touch back in August. Man, what a great, talented high flyer. Adrian Quest, you know the story. Seen him at APW last November. Trained by the Santino Brothers Academy, and especially his impressive showcase at the last episode of New Japan Strong. And it was pretty much a hard pick to choose from for this. I went ahead and picked Blake Christian, you guys. I mean, I figured, like, with his high caliber, especially who everybody knows who is Blake Christian, why not? So, in the semifinal, I had DKC versus Clark Connors. So, I'm going with Clark Connors to be DKC. And then Danny Limelight versus Blake Christian, Danny Limelight. So, for the finals of the tournament, Clark Connors versus Danny Limelight, this is going to be a banger of a match, you guys. Like, it's how much of a level of excitement that I really want to see this matchup happening. You have is an up-and-coming star, who actually serves in the military. He's been in the industry for so many years, wrestling-wise. I feel it's time for him to outshine the young lions representing the LA Dojo and showcasing what he's all about. So my final pick for this tournament, I'm going with Danny Limelight. So I'm very looking forward to how it's going to go about, and especially that's going to fill a void while the rest of the guys like Jeff Cobb, Kenta, and Jay White are overseas in Japan for the G1 climax. Oh, and let's not forget Juice Robinson. I know he did not appear in any of the New Japan Strong because he injured his leg, but he did appear in the interview segment or like promo segment with David Finlay, like right after like the New Japan Strong press conference when they did announce the episode, and also the New Japan Cup US of A. So yeah, it is a great way to see what New Japan Pro Wrestling is all about and what they can do. So I'm all for it. I'm excited altogether. All right, you guys. So before I go into the next one, which is recapping Impact Wrestling, let's go ahead and hear from Brandon of Curveballs and Chair Shots. Check it out.
What's up, everyone? It's Brandon. If you love sports and wrestling like I do, then check out my other podcast, Curveballs and Chair Shots. Every Friday, me and my illustrious co-host Dominic Hobson talk the biggest news from the MLB, NFL, NBA, and so much more. We also cover some things we don't talk about here on the Bulletcast, including a weekly NXT recap. You can listen to Curveballs and Chair Shots wherever you get your podcast. Just simply search Curveballs and Chair Shots. Now let's get back to the show.
All right, you guys, and we're back. Well, at least I had to take a water break. I know this is a Hydro Flask with so many stickers. I actually have two, you guys, because I have one for work, the other one for here at home, just to keep my drink cold. It's just water, y'all. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and move on to the recap of Impact Wrestling. I feel that this episode of Impact Wrestling, it is a start of a build-up and a possibility of, like, so many, like, storyline that is happening, especially we're, like, a month away from Bound for Glory, and it's kind of, like, a lot of, like, theories and a lot of, like, what ifs and so much speculation that's going to be happening because of the storyline. So I'm going to break it down to you, the recap. So anyway, so we have is before they open the show, we have is a tribute to Barry Scott, who passed away last week at the age of 65. He was the voice of Impact Wrestling during the earlier days. And what I love about the tribute is they actually added his old tagline, which is so much like very nice and very heartful for Impact Wrestling to do. And all he said is TNA Wrestling presents Cross the Line. That is his famous moniker in TNA Wrestling history. And again, my hearts and condolences goes out to the friends, family, loved one, colleagues, and everybody that knows Barry Scott. May he rest in peace. And that is a very beautiful tribute. And I know Josh Matthews did touch base on commentary when the show starts of Barry Scott's career before the first match happens. So, of course, you're like a preview of a recap of what happened last week of the Impact Wrestling, you know, the whole Alicia Edwards, Eric Young situation, the matches, and then Rich Swann returns. So everything is like crazy altogether. Anyway, so the opening of the match, we went straight away. Opening of the match was Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly versus Kylie Rae and Susie in a tag team match. And that match lasted almost 8 minutes, which I was very impressed. I kind of knew that they're going to take it much longer because of the rivalry going on between Deonna and Kylie, since Kylie is still the #1 contender for the Impact Knockouts champion. So this is going to be a continuing of a feud together. So yeah, first of all, Susie's music, creepy as fuck. I mean, creepy AF. Sorry, Philip. Yeah, creepy AF. So my bad with the cussing. So don't find me all that. But yeah, like, it is so creepy AF. It reminds me of like this horror movie featuring Nicole Kidman that she sees like ghosts of children's or anything like that. I forget the name of the movie. That kind of like reminds me of like the tone of it. It's been a while since I've been watching horror movies, but I need to catch it up because I know Halloween is coming up next month, and Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, but I digress on it. So anyway, it is a pretty decent match. I mean, you can tell that there was a lot of animosity going on with pretty much Kylie, Kimberly, and Deonna and Susie. She's just following up the guidance from Kylie, like what she wanted to do, and Kylie being kind of like being the cheerleader and being like a good friend she is to Susie. So the match itself was pretty awesome. Kylie did a head scissors, hurricanrana to Kimberly for the 2 count. And of course, Susie and Kylie did working together doing like a double team moves to Kimberly, which is pretty nice. And right when Susie was about to do the next attack, guidance from Kylie, Deonna actually kicked Susie in the back while she was like behind the ropes, as Kimberly did an arm drag for the 2 count. And then, very impressive submission hold from Kimberly. Like, she did a single bad ankle lock that she applied to Susie. And that was like pretty impressive on her end. And there was like a lot of like whole back and forth action, but you could tell like while Susie was the one that's like being attacked from Deonna Purrazzo, you could tell like her facial expression after she did the sunset flip for the 2 count, like the pure frustration. You could tell that Su Yung is actually coming to unleash a bit. I think like one of the things that triggers Susie is actually like the way that Deonna or Kimberly was like continuing on to attacking Susie, and then with the built up aggression she showing, that's when like Susie to Su Yung kind of appeared. Like you could tell like based on the facial expression. Like I've been only solely seeing her expression. I was like, we maybe can be seeing a possibility of, you know, the returning Su Yung, but we'll see like how it's gonna transpire. But it is shown during the match. So Susie tagged Kylie. Kylie was about to do the Kylie special, which is a super kick, but Kimberly did caught up and then counter, and then Kylie did a drop kick to Kimberly. Of course, you saw on Kylie Rae's Twitter. Yeah. Digress on that. And of course, like more back and forth action. And then, of course, Deonna Purrazzo providing the distraction. while Kimberly is still like the legal tag. And so Kylie did throw Deonna off, and that's when Kimberly did the corkscrew for the 2 count, of course, and then back to tagging Kylie and Susie. And so Kimberly did apply the German suplex to Susie for a 2 count, but then again, while Kimberly was about to do the swanton, Susie got up and then she did the palm strike, which, you know, it's a similar move to Su Yung. And then she did the Arachnikana, followed by the panic switch to pick up the victory. So Susie and Kylie Ray won, and you could tell after the match, Susie was about to turn back to Su Yung, like, with this whole weird expression that kind of scared the living bejesus out of Kylie, which Kylie was trying to call Susie, like, Susie, like, you know, playing, like, what's going on. So Susie kind of snapped out back to her old form, and so they won. Susie theme music played again. Again, creepy AF. That's all I can say. So it is a pretty solid opening of the match for the women's, even though there was a bit of a botch, but it's all good. But at least it's longer than, at least it's like almost an 8-minute match. That's all it is to it. More story, compelling, and more theories aside, because there is a possible theory that may be happening, because I know we'll be seeing Deonna Purrazzo versus Kylie Rae's match, possibly at Bound for Glory. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of theories, too. Like, are we going to be having Kimberly or Susie on ringside? Because there is going to be a lot of endless possibilities, especially, like, when we're going to be seeing the returning Su Yung. I would love to see Susie going back to Su Yung, because, I don't know, it's just me. I do miss Su Yung, you know, especially that red mist and everything. So, like, I don't know, something that is, like, very intrigued about Su Yung. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next up. You have is this backstage segment with Trey Miguel, Rohit Raju, which Trey asked Raju for a title shot for the X Division title. And Raju said, like, he has so many rematches going on, like TJP. And so Trey's like, if I beat TJP, then you have to challenge me for the X Division title. So Raju wish him best of luck. And yeah. And then we got into another backstage segment with Bravo, Kiera Hogan, and Tasha. So Tasha and Kiera did excuse Bravo for, like, being the one that has only listened to Taya's advice and everything for Taya, which Bravo said, like, I do everything for myself only, not Taya. And that he did pick a best man out of nowhere. And guess what? His best man? Fallah Bahh. It was funny. It was out of nowhere that Bravo did pick Fallah Bahh after he came in. And that's when Johnny Bravo was like, there, just to avoid Hogan and Steels, of course, because, you know, they're still in a rivalry with what's going on with Taya. So it is something like a more of a build-up for this tag team, like, which I'm going to touch base a bit later on. Anyway, so we have another tag team match, which is the team of Triple XL, which is Larry D and AC Romero, versus the Deaners. And I must say is Josh Matthews did mention that AC Romero's weight loss journey that is now appearing on Sports Illustrated. So if you guys know that, I did saw it on Twitter this morning that AC Romero did lose 100 pounds. That is a much accomplishment on his part. Like, he worked so hard during the pandemic, and especially the before and after picture that he took on social media, it was very impressive. So much respect to Ace Romero, especially putting up all his hard work, especially during this pandemic. I know that we're looking for an alternate way just to stay healthy, just for our personal goals and also for the well-being personally. Bravo. Anyway, with the matchup, so it is kind of refreshing, and mind you, this is the first time I'm actually seeing these tag team in action, because like I said before in past podcasts, I started watching Impact Wrestling again right after Slammiversary. I did watch Slammiversary, and then I did watch like 2 episodes, like the episode after Slammiversary, and a week later, that's when I was hooked on to Impact Wrestling again. And, that's why I'm doing this recap, you guys. Anyway, so, not much to say. I mean, it is, like, pretty much a little bit of a rivalry going on regarding what happened at Wrestle House. We already know who took the Diener's beer. Of course, it's Crazy Steve. And so, Cody just told AC, like, he wanted to call it truce like they promised, and Ace and Rose was like, nope, because this is not Wrestle House anymore, and they started attacking. So it is a pretty much, like, your typical tag team match, not much to say, even though Larry D did a sidewalk slam to Cody Deaner for the 2 count, and of course, Jake Deaner with an impressive spinning DDT to Larry D, like, dang, that was for his test of strength. It was very impressive. It's like more of like, with the Deaners, basically with Jake Deaner, it's like a showcase and like, they have these strength that they can hold anybody. And I was very impressed by it. And then Jake with the slam to AC Romero, and then Larry D with the lariat to Jake Deaner, and that's Triple XL did pick up the victory, you guys. And it was a pretty solid tag team match. I mean, I think we'll be seeing, like, what's going on next for the Deaners and Triple XL, but who knows? Anyway, so let's move on to the next match you have is Trey Miguel versus TJP. It was a pretty impressive matchup together. I mean, it's like your typical technical wrestling match. It was, like, a bit slow paced, but it's starting to build things up. It was pretty much, like, an impressive showcase altogether, especially with Trey Miguel wanted to beat TJP to be the #1 contendership for the X Division title against Rohit Raju. I mean, I don't blame him for that. So anyway, Trey was about to do the dropkick on the top rope, but then as soon as he did the dropkick, TJP did the dropkick, so they both connected and collided, and of course they were down. So that was like pretty much impressive. And then Trey didn't miss the first, but he did connect the second roundhouse kick to TJP, and then he did the tope suicida outside the ring, despite what's going on with his knee that landed brutally, like, early on in the matchup. And then TJP did the superplex on the top rope to Trey, and then a octopus submission hold until Trey broke the submission hold, and then Trey with the double knee for one time, and then he went on top of the rope and did another double knee and pick up the victory. So Trey Miguel did defeat TJP, and he's now the #1 contendership for the X Division title. So it is pretty much a showcase match. Looking forward to it. And then after the match, you heard Josh Matthews like, what's going on backstage? Like, is there an attack? What's going on? So they cut to what happened backstage as the North and Madman Fulton did attack the Rascals, you guys. Well, Ace Austin just holding on the cane. I think you hold the card too, like, standing pretty, trash talking while these guys are taking care of business until Jimmy Jacob and the rest of the staff did run in and broke off the fight. And then that's when Jimmy Jacob and Motor City Machine Gun did check out on Zachary Wentz, says he was the one that was like brutally beaten, especially Desmond Xavier. So I know there's supposed to be having an 8-man tag team match coming up. It was supposed to be the Motor City Machine Guns and the Rascals versus the North and Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. So we're not sure what happened. But then back to the commercial break. And by the way, I did watch Impact Wrestling on Twitch. And during the commercial break, you have is Melissa Santos, you guys. That's right. She's still with Impact Wrestling, but doing the Twitch platform. And fun fact, I found out last week, she's 100% Nicaraguense. Yep. So even though my half Nicaraguan son is so happy for joy that found out Melissa Santos is full-blood Nicaraguan. So I'm happy. Anyway, I digress on it. Anyway, back to the commercial break. The doctors did inform Alex Shelley and Chris Sabian that Zachary Wentz is the one that got brutally beaten, and Desmond Xavier as well, that they're not clear to wrestle. So So Chris and Alex, they're like scrambling to figure out what they're going to do. And then out comes Anderson and Gallows. They're offering to help, but I know that Motor City Machine Guns are very reluctant and adamant to have them join in. But they're like, okay, well, you know what? We're going to join in. We'll see you in the ring. So yeah, so pretty much the Good Brothers did insert themselves to be part of the 8-man tag team match with the Motor City Machine Guns. So yeah, it is going to be pretty interesting. Let me go ahead and take a quick sip. Yeah, pretty interesting since knowing the fact that there has been like a confusion going on within the Good Brothers and also Motor City Machine Gun, especially when it comes to the title opportunities. But who knows? It is so many endless possibility. Alrighty, and then cut to the in-ring where there's Rich Swann coming out still in a cast and crutches. As he came into the ring, he called out Scott D'Amore because he wanted to talk to him in the ring instead of the office because he wanted to hear what he had to say. So Scott D'Amore did come out and came into the ring and he listened to what Rich Swann has to say. This segment, you guys, was so well executed. Very beautifully job, especially when Rich Swann cut the mic. He sounds so convincing and he sounds so determined that he wanted to be back in the ring. Ever since what Eric Young did to Rich Swann, especially taking away from what he loves, which is professional wrestling, that Rich had to force into retirement. And he did state that how much EY did change his life in a negative way and how he ruined his life altogether. And he made a plea to Scott that to let him back in the ring and fight Eric Young. However, Scott did say that with all due respect to Rich Swann, he did talk to the doctors and he told him that he is not 100% medically clear and he's not physically able to fight EY because of Rich Swann's leg injuries too. And he is very worried for Rich. Rich said he'll be ready in October and he shared it in like a very heartful manner, like why he wanted to compete despite his leg injury. And why? And he's like, he doesn't give a damn if he ends up crippled. He wanted to beat the holy hat out of EY, and he wanted to take what is his, which is the Impact World Heavyweight Champion. Right when Scott D'Amore was about to respond, out comes Eric Young, and and guess what? Eric Young is wearing the t-shirt. Which shout out to Nick Winston's art. My good brother, Nick Winston, actually is the one that designed Eric Young's t-shirt that he wore on this episode of Impact Wrestling. So I'm very proud of my good brother. Nick, you did a killer job. So again, follow Nick Winston's art, www.nickwinston'sart.com, including on Twitter and Instagram. He has all of his dope graphic design art, and he did design like other wrestling t-shirt, not just Eric Young but also Zadia Zhang to Sam Adonis. Hell, let's see who else. Okay, he did EY. Wow, it's a lot of resume. What Nick can do is very impressive. So anyway, enough of my good brother's plug. So yeah, out comes EY wearing Nick's killer design t-shirt. Digress. Okay, come out and he did cut the mic and he said that like he didn't cut the mic. He actually did shove Scott D'Amore and then he started beating up Rich Swann. That's when Rich did beat him up back. So it's gotten into a brawl until EY got out of the ring, and right when he's about to say something, Scott said that before I was rudely interrupted. Rich, what you said actually got me in, which of course it was a very heartful speech that he did give to Scott D'Amore, and with his blessing he actually said yes. He said, you got a title shot, take care of this POS out. He actually said piece of, yeah, he did. And so, right when EY did cut a mic, he's like, I'm going to make sure to end your career for good and all that. So it's like a lot of like back and forth mic work. So it ends beautifully, this segment, and looks like we have is a title match. Rich Swann versus Eric Young. It's going to be possibly for Bound for Glory. I think this is going to be continuing on with this whole storyline altogether with EY and Rich Swann, especially what's going to be happening next. So I'm all for it. I'm excited. Anyway, so backstage segment with Taya and Rosemary, which they talk about the whole Tasha and Kiera Hogan situation. And of course, Romy says she knows someone who can officiate the wedding. So Taya said, okay, let me go ahead and get ready for a match. And yeah, pretty much it. And then we're moving on to the next match, which is Brian Myers versus Willie Mack. Their rematch from last week. Not much to say. It's just a lot of back and forth action going on. I mean, you have Brian Myers took out the top turnbuckle pad as he was about to shove Willie Mack's face front, but Willie Mack did dodge out. I mean, same old stuff. Myers with the enziguri for the 2 count. I mean, it's not much to say. I mean, it's not like it is kind of like your typical standard match altogether. And I think this will continue on with their feud too. So you have this Willie Mack with the exploder suplex as Brian Myers did roll out of the ring. And then right when Willie Mack was about to get Brian Myers, that's when Brian did low blow Mack, and then he did the DDT for a 2 count. And of course, Brian Myers was the one got planted in a turnbuckle, and that's where Willie Mack took the advantage and did the stunner to pick up the victory. So it is a pretty much your decent match. I think this is going to be a continuing feud between these guys. I don't know what's going to be happening next, but we'll see. Anyway, backstage with Rosemary, who actually ran into Havoc and Nevaeh. So Rosemary did ask that it's been a while since they had their counter, and she asked her if you can summon someone from the dead to officiate the wedding. Havoc said it's not going to happen, as Rosemary did something insulting that kind of pushes Havoc ass when she started attacking Rosemary, and that's when Nevaeh did trying to pull Havoc away, and they both walked off. So this person that Rosemary mentioned, of course, I'm going to say it. It's actually Father James Mitchell. I mean, whatever happened to that guy? Last time I heard about him is something going on with Rosemary, Kiera Hogan, and of course, the Bunny, or Demon Bunny, before she got killed and dead, and now she's with AEW, but I digress. But yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting. But again, I think that, like, bringing in, like, this continuous storyline is, like, so many theories going on. I mean, you have this Taya getting involved with Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, and then now Rosemary with Havoc and Nevaeh. Like, it is so many possibilities, which I'm going to get into that in a moment when I'm talking about Kiera Hogan versus Taya Valkyrie's match. But anyway, so let's go ahead and move on. Another backstage segment you have is Moose and Scott D'Amore, which Scott was trying to calm Moose down regarding, like, Moose looking for EC3. And so as soon as he walked off, Moose saw in the mirror, and of course, out come EC3 cutting up vignette promo in the mirror. Same old stuff. You say you have been warned. And so right when Moose looked away from the mirror, and guess what? He did make a call to quote-unquote the demo god regarding an advice of a stolen title. That was pretty much a nice jab to to AEW, and especially a tribute to Chris Jericho. I mean, you thought that AEW already had enough shots to WWE, but then Impact Wrestling is now taking kind of like a friendly shot away to AEW, Impact to AEW. Like, it's pretty interesting altogether. And then Moose say, I'll send you the bubbly, it's on me. And you know what's... And then he hung up the phone. He's like, I know exactly what he's doing. So it's pretty much a funny moment, you guys. Like, it is a... I enjoyed it, you guys. Like, it was pretty much a nice chuckle to it, too. So, like, as long as it's, like, in a friendly way, not, like, a constant shots fire. Just like they always, like, take shots, like, with WWE in past episodes. That's fine. But this is something more appropriate. Instead of, like, constantly, like, taking shots, like, every week, like, you know, with AEW, that's like that. But I just wish it should not be, like, in an effective way. But that's just me, you guys. Anyway, so, another backstage moment. Rhino is being pulled by Hernandez, which we'll get into that later on. Anyway, and so we have is Tenille's photo shoot, which Caleb Conley with the K, taking a lot of pictures until Jordan Grace came by, and she's looking for Tenille to wrestle right away. Tenille said that she's busy doing her photo shoot, whatever she's doing for modeling, and so Jordan did issue a challenge to have a match against her next week, and so Tenille accepted it, and back to photo shoot. So we have a match that is going to be announced for next week. I wonder if Caleb with the K will be in by Tenille's ring corner, but we'll see. Anyway, you guys, let's go and move on to the match. Kiera Hogan with Tasha Steelz versus Taya Valkyrie. So that match actually ended over 3 minutes, which is fine. I mean, it was a short match. Not much to say. I mean, it's just like your typical back and forth match together. I mean, you have is Kiera Hogan with the running boots for the 2 count. And it's like a lot of back and forth, a lot of trash talking. And I must say, Tasha Steelz, she looks so fabulous, especially with that chain, the shades, and everything about her style was like so, like, stunning. Like, I love her swag. I love her attitude. I mean, she is La Boricua badass, you guys. Hey, representing La Latina nation. But, you know, it's amazing. Anyway, so not much to say. And so Ty was about to do like her signature double knee on the turnbuckle, but then Tasha did pull Kiera over, and that's when like Tasha did got up on the apron as Taya and Tasha did kind of like smack talking against each other, and that's when Tasha did rake Taya's eye with her, I think her sunglasses or something, and that's when Kiera took the advantage and did they face the music, which is the cradle neckbreaker, and pick up the victory. So this is a continuing feud going on with Kiera, Tasha, and Taya. And then, of course, this whole situation with, like, Rosemary, Nevaeh, and Havoc. I honestly feel like this whole wedding situation, like, this whole wedding segment with Rosemary and Johnny Bravo and that, I feel that it is a possible storyline. We're definitely going to be seeing, like, a possible comeback of the Impact Knockouts tag team titles. I mean, if you have that storyline that is involving like Rosemary, Taya with Nevaeh and Havoc and Tasha and Kiera Hogan, you know it is a recipe for a possible tag team title match, and that's gonna be awesome. I know that Kylie and Susie is in a feud with Kimberly and Deonna Purrazzo. It is something that Impact Wrestling should take into consideration. I mean, have that match like a vacant Impact Knockouts tag team title match at Bound for Glory, and everybody can be happy and everybody will get their title opportunity. That's going to be something I would like to see. Anyway, so backstage segment with Rhino and Hernandez with this whole situation regarding the whole like rolls of cash, and of course they did a kind of like a sometime of the wrestling arm match type, and as soon as like Heath was like in stealth mode, he did grab the roll of cash and walk up, so not much to say of it. Anyway, and you have another backstage segment with Chris Bay as he ran into Rohit Raju, and he said he deserves a rematch, but Raju said the next line is actually TJP, but unfortunately TJP lost to Trey, and so all these X Division talent wants the title shot. So Raju say, let's make it a triple threat match. So next week, whoever wins the match get to face Rohit Raju for the X Division title. So that is right. Next week, TJP versus Chris Bay versus Trey Miguel. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break before talking about the main event match. We're going to hear from Philip from Chicle TV. Check it out.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Philip here. Look, there are so many channels out there on YouTube that do pranks and challenges and funny videos like That Just Happened TV, Nelk, and Love Live Serve. But why don't you look up Chikle TV? Yes, Chikle TV. Chikle TV. It is a channel I started with my buddy Vinny a couple years ago, and we've done wrestling finishers in public. He's done eating challenges. We've done pranks to people. It's a whole lot of fun. You know, when you go to YouTube, it is the thumbnail with the guy blowing the bubble. It says Chikle TV right in the bubble. And look, you know, just sit down, relax, hop on YouTube, look up Chikle TV, and...
Ooh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Crack open a little bit of the bubbly. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Chikle TV. Like, share, subscribe. It is the freshest channel on YouTube.
Alright, you guys, we are back, and we're on the main event match, which is the 8-man tag team match, which you have the team of the North and Madman Fulton and Ace Austin versus the team of Motor City Machine Guns and the Good Brothers. So, I was pretty impressed with this 8-man tag team match, even though it was a bit all over the place, but it was a good match altogether, and especially how some of the team are working cohesively together, like, as their own unit. I think they did an impressive job for it, too. But the end of it was kind of very questionable. I mean, like, during the match, you have is, like, Carl did aggressively tag Chris Sabin on the chest, and you could see, like, Chris was like, ow! Like, it was crazy. And then you have, like, Josh ran by Alex Shelley until Shelley did strike him, and then he did the cutter outside of the ring, and that's when Chris did the leg swipe to Josh after he bounced off, and then Alex Shelley did the crossbody, followed by a big-time splash from Chris Sabian, and then a double T move to Ethan Page after Ethan did run into them. And, of course, you saw that, like, during the match, like, Ace Austin was about to tag Madman Fulton, but then, of course, Ethan Page did put his hand over Madman Fulton, and that's when Austin tagged Ethan Page, and that's when he got tagged into the match. So it was pretty much a match that was, like, all over the place, but I know that some of them wanted to face the Motor City Machine Gun for the Impact World title. I don't blame them. And yeah. Anyway, Alex Shelley did try a couple chop to Madman Fulton, but then Fulton did a Northern Light suplex for the 2 count. Page did his usual strike to Chris Sabian, of course. And then Carl Anderson with the net breaker to Josh Alexander. And then he did the spine buster to Ethan Page for a 2 count. And of course, the Good Brothers did the double T suplex to Josh Alexander. And then followed by for the 2 count. And of course, it's like so many like high caliber matches. It's like pretty impressive altogether. And you know, typical tag team showcasing their individual signature move one by one. It's like nothing else is new too. But then at the ending has been questionable together. I mean, the North did their double T finisher as Ace Austin was the legal. He did tag Josh. I think it was he tagged Ethan Page's back or Josh's back. One of them. And then as soon as after the North did the double tag team finisher to Chris Sabian, that's when Ace Austin did pin him. And then you saw that Alex Shelley was about to break. And then, of course, Ethan Page was on top of Ace Austin. And that's when, of course, the team of the North, Madman Fulton, Ace Austin won the match. And I honestly feel that it was kind of like a sloppy ending of the match, because it's kind of like confused, like who did win the match, and you saw clearly that Alex Shelley pretty much did break up the pin. It's so many questionable tactics has been going on with it, and I know people will be like, well, this is how Impact Wrestling is. Like, dude, Impact Wrestling, I know they had their faulty moves in the past, but this is like a bit confusing to the extent I think they kind of like botched it at the end too. So yeah, the main event was pretty good overall, but the ending was like, yeah, it was kind of like a bit sloppy at the end too, but that's just me, you guys. Anyway, guys, so that is it for the recap of Impact Wrestling. So next week you have is Kimberly versus Susie in a singles match, so it is going to be pretty interesting, and yeah, more creepy AF music from Susie. And then you have a 3-way match, TJP versus Chris Bay versus Trey Miguel. Winner gets a #1 contendership spot for the X Division title against Rohit Rojo. And then you have is Jordan Grace versus Tennille Dashwood. And yeah, you guys, I'm looking forward to what's going to be happening for this week's episode of Impact Wrestling. So with that being said, you guys, the rating time. So thumbs up, thumbs down for this episode. Honestly, it was a pretty decent episode of Impact Wrestling. It's not the best, not the worst, but very decent. All in all, the best out of it would be the Rich Swann Scott D'Amore segment, especially that beautiful promo which Swann cut out. It was so amazing. It kind of chokes me up a bit too. You have a lot of storyline that's starting to develop for like what's going to be happening for Bound for Glory. So many theories going on, especially like regarding like, you know, the whole Knockouts tag team situation, like each of the different storyline. You have this situation with the X Division, and then you have is the whole like tag team situation, and of course a continuing storyline with the whole Moose and EC3 all together. But with that being said, even though like the ending of the main event match wasn't the best, but it's all good. So for that, I'm gonna give it a 1.5 thumbs up. You guys, oh, Orange Cassidy. Anyway, this is my show, but yeah, 1.5 stars. So stars, thumbs up. So yeah, you guys. With that being said, that is it for the episode of Into the Stratusphere. Thank you so much for watching or listening or whichever. Even though we have this nice lighting right here that is making the save. Thank you, Target, for these awesome floor lamps. But I digress. Anyway, before I go, let me go ahead and give you guys my quick plug. So you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and on my YouTube channel at simply_C_OK. That's SIMPLY_C_OK. Also, make sure to follow my affiliate, NoDQ.com, on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on the YouTube channel, NoDQ, DOTCOM. And on the website as well. And also make sure to follow the Bulletcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to this YouTube channel at the Bulletcast. And make sure to stay tuned for everything going on with the Bulletcast. Especially, I know new episodes going to be dropping very soon on Philip and Brandon's end. And of course, like I'll be back next week for another episode of Into the Stratusphere. So as always, you guys, please make sure to wash your hands 20 to 30 seconds. Practice social distancing, 6 feet. Please wear your face mask or any face covering at all times. No excuses. And remember to please be kind to one another. We are all in this together. Cheers, guys.